In October 2015, global wealth trackers registered an anomaly. A man with zero formal education quietly surpassed Bill Gates to become the richest human being alive. This ascent began in 1936 in a Spanish village of fewer than 100 people. Amancio Ortega was born just as the Spanish Civil War began tearing the country apart. His father worked the railroad, his mother cleaned houses, and dinner was often a single plate of potatoes. When he was 12 years old, Ortega walked with his mother to a local grocery store to ask for food on credit. He watched the shopkeeper publicly refuse her. He dropped out of school the next day, vowing that his family would never experience that humiliation again. He found work as an errand boy, running shirts across town for pennies. Over the next 6 decades, he systematically scaled those manual deliveries into a retail empire worth over $100 billion. Every subsequent expansion, every factory he built and store he opened, was a step toward making that childhood promise of total financial security a reality. While working in clothing boutiques in his 20s, Ortega spotted a terminal inefficiency in how fashion moved. The industry operated on a rigid seasonal calendar, forcing brands to guess what customers wanted months in advance, and locking in designs long before they reached a shelf. These are the layers of waste he identified. As a garment travels from the textile producer, through wholesalers to regional distributors, each middleman takes a cut. By the time a dress reaches the retail floor, the price has quintupled to cover those markups. These layers also created a time crisis. It took a minimum of 8 weeks for a design to clear the supply chain. If a trend changed during those 2 months, the retailer was left holding thousands of obsolete items that no one wanted to buy. The entire machine was slow, wasteful, and disconnected from what people were actually wearing in the streets. In 1963, Ortega launched his first company, organizing local women into sewing cooperatives and sourcing fabric directly from producers in Barcelona. He eliminated every middleman he could find, allowing him to sell high-quality garments for a fraction of the market rate. To manage the speed, he implemented just-in-time manufacturing, a strategy he borrowed from Toyota's automotive assembly lines. Instead of guessing seasonal demand, he produced clothes in tiny batches, manufacturing only what was actively selling in real time. In 1976, while competitors were still focused on fabric swatches, Ortega purchased his first computer. He was one of the first executives in Spain to begin digitizing inventory and supply chains, treating his warehouses like a high-precision data network. He prioritized this technical infrastructure by hiring a local university professor, José María Castellano, to lead his team. Ortega valued data systems over fashion degrees, eventually making Castellano the company's CEO. This created a high-precision industrial engine. Ortega stripped the exclusivity out of fashion and treated garments with the same logistical rigor as car parts moving down an assembly line. This loop shows the result of that engineering. While the rest of the industry waits months for new inventory, Zara completes the entire cycle, from design to delivery, in just 14 days. Store managers act as live sensors, reporting daily on which items shoppers are trying on and which they are rejecting. This data flows directly back to the designers in Spain, who adjust production every 48 hours based on actual customer behavior. Because inventory is refreshed twice a week in small batches, shoppers learn that an item they see today will likely be gone by tomorrow. This creates a sense of scarcity that drives sales volumes without the need for traditional discounts. This feedback loop replaced the need for massive advertising. Zara spends less than 0.5% of revenue on marketing, allowing the speed of the product and the location of the store to do the work of a multi-million-dollar campaign. Ortega perfected this model in the port city of La Coruña. Once he established dominance across every major Spanish city, he began scaling the logistics internationally, moving first into Portugal to test the brand's reach. In 1989, he opened a store on Lexington Avenue in New York City. The New York Times took notice of the rapid inventory turnover, coining a new term to describe what Ortega had built: fast fashion. By 1990, he was in Paris, competing for foot traffic on the Champs-Élysées. The reclusive Spaniard was now selling affordable clothing directly alongside the world's most elite luxury houses. The model faced its ultimate test during the 2008 financial crisis. As the global economy contracted, traditional retailers were crushed by excess inventory and falling sales. Zara's agile, low-stock system allowed it to keep growing while competitors folded. The business proved anti-fragile. The more consumers tightened their belts, the more they turned to the brand that offered high-end trends at responsible prices. The final scale is immense: 7,400 stores, 160,000 employees, and an annual revenue exceeding 38 billion euros. Ortega remains remarkably reclusive despite this reach. He has given only 3 interviews in his life and continues to eat his lunch in the company cafeteria alongside the designers and fabric cutters. He democratized style by leveraging superior logistics to fulfill a promise made in a grocery store 70 years ago. Amancio Ortega proved that a quiet, observant boy from a village of 100 people could outbuild the most powerful fashion houses on earth.